Hey everyone, welcome to the Anderson Bros Outdoors. I'm Jake, and today we're going to build this Vanquish VRD Builders kit, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back. As I said, my name is Jake, and today we have the Vanquish VRD Builders kit in front of us. We're going to put it together, then we're going to take it out, and we're going to run it. This VRD Builders kit is a straight axle stance, essentially. So we all know what the VRD stance is. It's a ready-to-run truck. This is the Builder's Kit version, but the difference is that it has straight axles instead of portals, like the Vanquish VRD Carbon. So the Vanquish VRD Carbon is essentially the same kit, but there are some differences. The primary difference being that this kit comes with portals, while this kit comes with straight axles. There's some other differences as well. The VRD Carbon comes with machined gears. The Builder's Kit comes with centered gears. The VRD Kit comes with a carbon frame, whereas the Builder's Kit comes with a stamped frame. There's a difference in price. The VRD Builder's Kit is $289.99, while the VRD Builder's Kit is, I think, $429.99. Those are really the two differences. It does look like this kit comes with the thick lower links, unlike the stance, where it had the really thin ones that bent very easily. And really, that's the only difference. This is essentially the new SCX 10.2 target audience, or the target audience for this kit is the SCX 10.2 or similar builders kits that are on the cheaper side, but also perform. One of the things that we actually plan on doing with this kit is we are going to compare it to the other builder's kit out there that is very similar in nature to this one, and that is the Axial SCX10 Pro. So these two kits are very, very similar in dynamics. This Axial SCX10 Pro is a straight axle class 2 kit, whereas the VRD Builder kit is a straight axle class 2 kit. There are some very minimal differences. That's for another video coming in the very near future. I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss that. On today's video, we are going to be unboxing the VRD Builders kit and putting it together. It shouldn't take very long. I will probably speed up the video so that way we're not consuming all of the video with putting it together. So let's dive into it. First, we can look at the box and see what we've got going on. The VFD trans, 6% overdrive in the trans. So there's really only going to be 6% overdrive overall. There's not going to be any overdrive in the portals. It's just straight 6%. Got the nice, pretty seal cut. Let's see what we have going on. Well, we've got the instructions and we have a bunch of bags. One quick note on this, this kit does come with centered gears everywhere. So like here, you can see this is a centered diff. It's a one-piece diff. If you were to want to upgrade the diff and the transmission gears, I would highly suggest updating the diff gears for sure. The trans gears are not as important, I don't think personally, but the diffs are, and so what you're going to upgrade it with is you can use any AR44 style diffs outside of Element, so any axial AR44 diffs will work. Machined, preferably. The centered gears or powdered metal is not as strong. So when you put your fusion motor in there, which is what we're going to do with this, it will at some point bind in the rocks. Your tire will bind in the rocks and your motor will have enough power to strip out that centered gear. Alright, so jumping into this is going to be roughly 5 minutes long. So if you don't want to watch this process, feel free to skip ahead. Also, the video is sped up 20 times to eliminate such a long video. Here I'm pointing out that the axles are referenced in Vanquish's website as universal axles and not F10 axles, FYI. Next, I'm discussing the difference between the centered gear and a machined gear. The machined gear is a two-piece and the centered gear is a one-piece. I would highly recommend putting machined gears in the axle as you put them together. Now, I did add grease to the diff bearings. They are pre-greased, but there is nothing wrong with adding some more in there. The rest of the installation process is pretty self-explanatory. You will have a servo mount to go on top of the axle, so the top two diff screws will not actually be utilized until you place that servo mount on there. So just make sure that you continue through the instruction book and it will show you what to put where. If you don't have a link or a rod end tool, I would highly suggest you buy one. They are for shocks, rod ends, links, whatever. There are a set of pliers that work fantastically. I'll link some in the description below with a tire venting tool on the end. So it's a two-piece or multi-tool, if you will. The next bag is going to be for the rear axle, pretty self-explanatory. Again, I would put machined diffs in the front and the rear. If you want to go with overdrive, you can put a 33 and 8 tooth in the rear, which will underdrive it, and a 27 and 8 tooth in the front, which will overdrive it. Stock is 30 and 8. The next part of the process is to build the chassis itself. We're using aluminum rails that come with the kit. If you want to upgrade to the carbon rails, they are half the weight of the aluminum rails, and it will eliminate some of the unsprung weight. This process is pretty self-explanatory, and a couple of notes. If you look at the installation manual, there is a full-size reference for all of the screws, bearings, etc. So if you don't know what screw to use, you can take the screw and place it up against the manual, and it will show you if that screw is too long or too short or just right. One other note here, you want to install the front top links before you install the bottom ones and the skid slash sliders, otherwise you will have to pull it all apart and put those on there. Moving into the trans, we do have centered gears here. It is recommended to upgrade to the machine gears. These are not as important as the diffs, but you will at some point break these due to binding. We're using a Fusion SE 1800 kV motor here. This is going to be plenty adequate for this setup, and it's budget friendly. It's only 80 bucks. Another note, you want to make sure that you get all of your pins in the transfer case, etc., or you will have to pull it all apart and do it again. There are 8mm and 10mm pins. Make sure you utilize the appropriate pin in the appropriate place. It does state or specify what pin to use in the manual. Apply grease liberally so that way you don't have any issues and breaking them prematurely. Next we'll be installing the trans into the chassis. This is also pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy to do. Moving into the shocks, I typically use green slime on these, but it doesn't seem to help eliminate them from leaking. The only thing that I can really say that helps them from leaking is to not fill them up all the way. So what I'll typically do is fill the shock all the way up to the bottom of the threads and leave it like that, and I won't have any issues with them leaking. As a side note, these shocks are 90mm instead of the 80mm shocks that come on the portals. Next we have the drive shafts. These are pretty easy to put together. Just make sure you use the short ones for the front and the medium ones for the rear. The long ones are not used for this build. The last step is going to be putting it all together and installing the axles on the front and the rear. As you can see, we did choose to go with a NSDRC 500B servo for $65. That's probably the best budget servo money can buy. It is a direct power servo, so you don't have to have a crazy BEC to run it. It will run right off the battery. And that red connector that connects is called a JST connector. You can either solder it onto your ESC, or you can buy a adapter that goes from XT60 to XT60 with the JST connector on it and utilize it that way as like a sandwich. So this is essentially the bone stock truck. We have a Fusion SE 1800 kV motor with a NSDRC 500B servo. It is the budget servo. We have a lot of airplanes flying around today for some reason. All said and done, the truck by itself without the radio and the receiver, because you can pick one of those up, a FlySky GT5 for like 45 bucks, 50 bucks. If you were to compare this with the stance, you're looking at the $500 range for the stance. However, with this, you get a much better the FlySky GT5 is way better than the stock radio that the stance comes with, and you have a brushed motor right out of the gate with a way better servo. While the truck may be the same, and really the only difference between this and the stance are the axles, straight versus portal, you're actually getting a lot better value out of the builder's kit than you are just going out and buying the stance, especially if you're already in the hobby. If you're new to the hobby, it's really 50-50. I know it's a huge concern about, you know, having to piece things together. With that being said, we'll leave a list of everything that we're using here in the description below, including the Noble radio and the FlySky GT5, to give you a more budget build, especially for newcomers. That's something that I look for in different hobbies is, hey, I want to replicate that. How do I do it? Well, the list in the description will show you how to do that. I'm really wanting to get this out on the rocks, so let's take it for a test drive and let's see how it does. So we're going to start here in this little course in my backyard. There's a hole in the back that the straight axle got sucked into. So you can definitely tell we're on straights because the axles are hitting the rocks. Apologize for the body clearance. It's just a quick throw together. So the first thing we're going to test here is the side hill capability of it. And so far it's doing pretty good. So this next part here is a little more challenging for straight axle cars. Portal cars can get it, but as you can see, we are stuck on the skid. So it will require a reverse there. Yeah, see, we're stuck right there on the skid. But we still got it anyway. No big deal. All right, so this next line is relatively easy. But we'll see what this can do. You can see there that we did get hung up on the straight front, and we're kind of getting hung up on the straight rear, which is pretty typical even on the portals. The truck just doesn't have a ton of weight, so it's hard for that front to really grab and pull it up. This is where you got to be a lot more methodical with your line selection. The straight axles. See how we were able to get that rear to bite and pull us up or help push us up. So this is another breakover spot where the truck is kind of having a tough time. But we did get it figured out there. Wow, that was beautiful. Pull a quick reverse, see if we can get that. Oh man, we just don't have the weight in the front to keep it. Another quick reverse. Use a little throttle there. And so this next line is a little bit more challenging. There's a lot more breakover, and every truck that I have has to bump this. So we'll see if we can get it. Portals definitely don't have an issue getting up there like that. See, this one's hitting the skid. So we're just going to try and bump it. See what happens. Well, we got it. All right, so let's see what this descent looks like, if we can keep it from falling off or going over itself. That was pretty impressive. We'll see if we can, nope. Can't make that turn. Didn't expect that to walk up like that so easily. All right, so this next line is a little more challenging, as you can see. We're gonna see if we can go up this. Again, crazy breakover. Really catered more to portal trucks. Almost. Yeah, we got it. Got too greedy. Beautiful. Look at that transition. That is extremely impressive. There. Third time's a charm. It's typically really hard to do without some sort of weight in the front and like that. Truck just made a fool out of me because I said you gotta have weight. We ain't got no weight in here. I guess there's something on the other side of that, huh? Try it over here. Maybe we can put the bumper right there in the middle of the rock. Just like that. Oh, yeah, there it is. And we're back for the conclusion of this video. We built it, we ripped it, now let's review it. First things first. Do we like the truck? Absolutely. Vanquish puts out amazing products. Would highly recommend. Now this specific truck has a great upgrade path. From the kit, there are some things that I would upgrade right out of the box. But as I said, I would buy the kit again, and I would do that because this truck performs really well. The only must updates in this truck are the differentials. They are centered from the factory. I would upgrade them to the machined. You can get machined diffs either from the Vanquish website, which will be in the description below, or you can buy them from Amazon for, I think, 10 to 15 bucks per set. They're machine diffs, and I've used them extensively without these issues. Now, to be fair, Vanquish has stated that these diffs are made for brushed motors, which come in the stance, and that's why the stance has more longevity. Now, when you start adding brushless power, because immediate torque breaks things, that's a result that we saw here. We had maybe 2 packs through it, and we lost the rear diff. That has been fixed. All in all, the truck performed really well. I'm extremely happy with it. It's essentially a stance, but builder's kit form. Now, they don't actually make a builder's kit for the portal. That would be the VRD Carbon, which is probably the best value money can buy. Now, real quick, we did do a price comparison, and it's going to be around $800 all said and done with tax shipped to your door for everything that we've listed previously. Now, you can get away with some of the cheaper stuff on there and make that price more palatable if that's too much for you. And one of those things that you can do is buy these wheels off AliExpress for $20. These B-lock rings, I think, were $5. You can actually get the Fusion SE off of AliExpress for cheaper as well. The things to note with buying cheaper products is that you will be waiting a longer time. If you are on a budget, you can absolutely get a full build for cheaper. The reason that I would go this route instead of buying a stance is because I'm not going to use any of the electronics that come with the stance outside of the servo. I like to put together my own projects. Now, I'm atypical there, and if you do want to buy an RTR, the stance is absolutely the way to go. What's really impressed me with this truck is that I've added no weight to it. The front wheels don't have any brass in them, and the truck just works. The way that this sits here, without the wheels and tires, the truck is right around 4 pounds. With the wheels and tires, the truck is around 4.4 pounds. With the battery and the body and fully ready and driving, you're looking between the 5 and 5.5 pound range. And not having any weight on the front, it performs really good. I was very impressed with its overall performance in almost every aspect or every obstacle. Now, you're obviously going to have a harder time with breakovers than the Portal version, but it still handled the breakovers really well. I would highly recommend doing a build just like this, especially if you've never done a build before. I think we're going to call it a video here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to not miss out on the VRD Builders Kit versus the SCX10 Pro. If you liked the video, throw us a like. Otherwise, huge shout out to the community and you guys for making it this far. I'd also like to give a huge shout out to the TABO club members. They're coming up next. And as always, we hope you have a great day.